Interesting. Well, I guess we may turn on the lights. Okay, so I have some kind of Google Hangout thing running in my browser. It's just a widow dog. Is that watching at your screen?
I think.
Because we can actually turn them off.
No, I think I need to.
You can only turn this feature on or off on the Google event page for this Hangout on air before the broadcast. Well, why the hell did you offer it to me? Okay. You know, I like Google Hangouts, but they can be just frustrating as hell.
Yeah. I've never tried to do any of the broadcast stuff. It's great for having new conversation. Oh, now that.
So let's see. Friction volume up. Volume up. So the question comes: what do we want to do? Because I've got my email app, which we could just.
In my first module to CCAN.
You did?
I did.
Awesome.
And it might have a bug.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not.
We debug it. Pearl?
I got an Asus laptop though.
Cha-ching.
I got joined the Asus group here.
Yeah.
Asus #1.
No, I wanted the HP, but the sales guy convinced me. I've had an HP all my life, and then I was standing there. He goes, "Well, that's got a terabyte. It's got touchscreen. HP doesn't. That's fine. All right, I'll take it."
HP's not bad stuff.
Well, my IBM when I'm sending back, you had to send back today because the hard drive crashed on it.
Alright, so in your Google Plus feed, there should be a link to the Hangout for whatever good it does. And what you could do is post, actually I think you could show your screen if you wanted to demo your plugin. It's only me.
I'm guessing the difference is.
Let's see.
You have to invite me to the Hangout, though, right?
If
To be on the.
did you get the thing in Google Plus for the DFW Perl Mongers?
Yes.
Because I just posted the link in the comments around this one. But I can.
Wasn't it just for watching?
Invite. Send an invite. Oh, I don't know if I have you in my address book. What would be your Google name?
John.Dexter at side effect is PSY
Uh-oh. P, sorry.
PSY DE
Echo.
Foxtrot.
Side effect. Send an email to.
That's weird. I've got you in mine.
Maybe I might just do a sometime. And then upgrade.
That sounded like Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah.
And now she's on cylinders.
From circles to cylinders.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Huh. One viewer.
Apparently don't have the plugin installed yet.
Thank you. Close it out, close it out. Yeah, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. Hide from broadcast profile eject muted. No. What if I wanted you to see the thing? Control panel? Control panel. Oh, I see your stuff. Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay.
So what I need to do is mute off. You can unmute your microphone and you can drive.
Fire control.
Yeah, basically whoever. Yeah. So you have a module.
I do. I developed a really simple, it's actually a role for the MooseX app
Yeah,
module
we were talking about
to add basic log for Perl functionality to your command line app. But this is a test.
Good man. Perfect.
Well, that's the default test that came when I created the package. So, this is my first module that I've uploaded to CPAN, and so I'm already up to version 0.02 because I'm learning how to add the correct module dependencies and stuff to so that it shows up correctly in CPAN and MetaCPAN, so and when people install it and stuff, they pull down the right dependencies. I think I got that part figured out. When I use it on some of my other scripts now, though, I get a like a concatenation error on undefined variable.
Oh,
Yeah, so I have to run it, and I get that when I'm using it in Windows for work. So I don't know if it's a Strawberry Perl versus regular Perl thing or what, but so here's the basic setup, and it just, like I said, it's really very basic, but it's just to eliminate some boilerplate stuff that I add to pretty much all of my little command line utilities that I make.
sure. Yeah.
So all it does is it adds these five, four, sorry. It adds 3 options to your app. The ability to specify a log file. It adds a debug mode, so when you add debug to your command line, it shows all the debug messages. And a quiet option, which I never actually use, but allows you to turn off messages right into the standard output. And has one other, this is the actual, I guess, I don't know what you call it, handle for log for Perl. And it calls, it's a lazy, so it has a builder, which is init logging subroutine that just sets up a real simple log for Perl configuration, and then returns the get logger function to this log attribute. So then, when you set up your app, you just use moosex app or moosex app simple, depending on how you want your app to be set up, and then with moosex app roll log for Perl, which is my module, and then moosex app applications have to have a run subroutine, so you will always have that by default, so that's why my example is the way it is, but shift out self, and then you've got self log, and then you can add debug info warning error fatal messages, and they get logged using log for Perl. It's real basic, but
Alright. So when you run it,
yeah, I don't have a good example on this computer. So what I was thinking is would be interesting is to write tests for this role, so that we can test to see if it's throwing any errors. But I'm not really sure how to do that exactly at this point. So I was thinking about everyone call my test functionality. And
people watching. They're not showing up in the thing because they're just watching over YouTube. Okay. So what editor is that?
It's just GVim.
Is this, and this is Linux on this one?
Yeah, I'm running Ubuntu 14.04.
Because it looked like, GNOME icon, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll start with strict test core. So would we, or should I set up like a lib, but like a script directory inside of tests that has a, like starts and resets?
Well, what do you want to, first of all, what do you want to test, right? There's testing inside the module, which I'm not 100% sure what good that would do.
Right.
And then there's testing its interaction with Perl, right?
Yeah.
So you could build a test using silent or quiet and see it. What would quiet do? Quiet would basically not log something. It would go through all the steps, but not actually log it, right?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't output.
Right. So can we go back to the code where it's at the bottom.
All right. So quiet. Yeah. What it does is here. So it sets the screen threshold scalar value if self-quiet. So since quiet is a Boolean variable, it's just using the ternary operator here. So it's off if it exists, and if it doesn't, then the log level passes through. Yeah. So and this is either debug or info, depending on.
One and two.
Yeah. Depending on if the debug attribute was set.
If debug is 0, then info should be set.
Right.
Alright, so if we do a test and we start quiet, it should do all of this, except it should actually even execute Perl, but nothing actually happens. It goes off into that and then comes back. So that's a good test all by itself. Because that test, if block the Perl is there and can't hand us back a successful or error or whatever. So that's a good test all by itself. Without adding anything.
So I guess would you create would you just load up a Perl app? Like create a basic, sort of like I have in my pod, right? So just create this simple MooseX app with these commands, and then run it, and just like through a pipe, open a pipe, and just run that and see if you get any output.
No, you run the functions test.
Okay.
If I remember how to do it. it's going to be so actually, I'm going to do that. But I can tell you, I am not. I'm not good. Saying, Tommy. Tommy.
Yeah.
We use the test more. Yeah, we're using test mode and got that testing. So what you want to do is, let's see, what would we test for? We could say, okay, space, open parentheses, and a root call. That's the usual way to do it.
Right.
Like option number 2, the big block in the center. So the okay is kind of like an if. It's looking for the Boolean yes or no, right?
Right.
And you can give it a number, like a positive number,
Mm-hmm.
and that will pass by itself. Or you can give it a equals. You can give it a regex. You can give it a call.
Mm-hmm.
If you give it a call and you don't say equals whatever, like it's going to return something, then it just uses the state, of the call. Pass fail, error, comma, and then a name for the test. And then when you run your script, your testing script, it prints that out, and then it says pass or fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the that text. You have one line script said, okay, space, name of the, try to log something,
Mm-hmm.
comma, quote, trying to quietly log. And then click close.
Yeah.
Done. And then done testing. And then what you should get out, so when you say Perl space testing.t, and it runs that, full program, you should get one line back which says testing to see if it's quiet. Log something quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it should exit. Or it's going to say fail.
Yeah. So if we're testing quiet, wouldn't we need to, like, it seems just more involved because we would have to open a pipe to some standard out or something like that.
What do you want from standard out?
Nothing. We got to check to see that there's nothing.
Okay, so what you can do, after the okay,
Mhm.
first okay, add a second one, which is looking for the lack of logging
Mhm.
output. And then you can go where you would expect the log output to be,
Mm-hmm.
look for it, rep for it, whatever, Is that correct? If it's not there, that passes. If it's there, it fails. Then you can run it again, and then take that block of code, duplicate it, and then change it. So instead of quiet, change it to being keyboard.
Right.
So what you're going to get is the quiet is going to test that all the code is running without any structural errors, right? And then after that, when you start passing stuff to log, debug, and whatever, it'll still snag on structural errors, but then you have the follow-up line which tests programmatic error.
Right.
Like it doesn't show up in syslog, it doesn't have the right filter on or whatever. What I'm trying to, it's such a short, thing. It's great. There's almost nothing to test except the handoff between it and log and fill.
Well, I mean, you can test. I don't want to test log for Perl because somebody else is already testing that.
Two routines, right?
I've got.
You've got a knit. So you've only got one routine actually.
No, so I've got log file, which writes to a log file, like to a file, right? So you can test whether or not the file is being output. And then there's debug, you can test whether or not it's printing debug messages. And wire. Yeah. That's it.
And all of those they execute into, I forgot how but how many actual subroutines do you have? Because
we only have the one.
Because you got those
subroutine.
the methods, debugging, quiet, whatever, right? But they execute internally. They all flip around to that one thing.
Yeah.
So.
And those all get executed from as command line arguments. Right.
Right. So, in effect, the only way that you can tell if they're working is to go all the way along the Perl and back, right? And unless we want to add some code, like you can add a flag, for his testing, and then you just return back the command line that you would have sent, or the object, and then in the testing script, you step through the object and go through stuff that's important, make sure it matches. Just return self, which you don't really want to do. Because you're passing that in. They can myself equals in. So there is nothing to pass out. You're not doing it by reference.
Right.
So for testing purposes, you could return the object and test the object if you want.
So where's the board meetings? Where's it happening? Other side?
They're giving out money today.
Yeah.
Everybody showed up. Yeah. So. So the overworked programmer in me says kill two birds with one stone. Test. Use log and Perl. So go all the way to the wall and back. Okay. And if it fails, awesome. It fails, and then you can snag, standard error and see what's in there, right? What is that? Dollar sign exclamation point? No. Dollar sign. When a call fails, the error Yeah, here's some call sign. That's where it's all right. Right?
Yeah, I don't think that's standard error handle though. That's just
That's for opens. That's for file opens. In particular, that's where I've used it, sure.
Mm.
There's nothing in there unless it fails. And then it's got the code in there. So, crap. If the call to log for Perl, if it fails inside of log for Perl, and you don't have, you're not catching signals anywhere,
Mhm.
if you're not catching it, what does it bubble back up as? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I always catch it. My programs are usually big enough to have one error handler across the whole thing. Okay, so what are we trying to do? What's the first thing we're trying to do? A single test, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the first.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So the on the deadline programmer that I was in the says throw the ball all the way to the wall, all the way down back. So go into log for Perl, come out of log for Perl, what do you got, right? Now we'll test everything in there.
Mm-hmm.
If something fails, you have less granularity than you might like for where it failed.
Mm-hmm.
Until we figure that out. The good procedural programming says granularity.
Mm-hmm.
Test the thing before it goes to log for Perl. Find a way to test it before it goes to log. Even if that includes making some extra code. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's really thorough. You know, it's a good way to do it. But you're kind of doing the work for the sake of work at that point. What you really want is not test code, but you want good error handling for runtime. So, yeah, the deadline programmer in me says just use log for Perl.
Mm-hmm.
So, agree, disagree, understand?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do what you're saying. Like, you can go into and like capture the also like the internals of log for Perl to see if it's writing to certain. I don't even know where to start with that. Like,
Okay, if you make a call, if you make the call, right? So the whole purpose of this module is so you can say, self log debug blah, right? And that blah is the same thing that you would have passed along to Perl
right.
if you're calling it discrete.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, fine, great.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know where that's going to go, because you know how log Perl is, likely you know what you're setting it up at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because your program tells it use this log, or it tells it use this file, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know where the stuff is going to go.
Yeah.
And you can get that programmatically.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, self, log Perl, config, path, or whatever, right? You set that stuff right before you call log Perl. You set it once at the beginning of the program.
Also, it's got the lazy builder.
So it's not actually going to execute the stuff until you
call. Yeah.
But do you set up the config lazily? So that means it's set up on the first call. So you won't be able to wadir it until after you try it. So if everything works, no problem. So let's if everything works, it works. It goes through. That's fine. If it doesn't work, well, let's go back to that. If it works, then you could go into the object, see how you're going to log it, go test that. Right? So if you're going to log it in syslog, then you could go grep the current messages, right? Or if you have some other file set up, you can build a structure to figure out, all the different variations of how to log it in syslog. Now to understand that. If you're logging it straight to a single file that you say put it in this file, that's easy enough. Take that and go, all right, grep for this that I passed in this file. Does it show up? Does it show up after this date and time stamp? If you're running your tests, are you going to delete that file every time, right? So you want to make sure you don't have a false positive from the previous run 30 minutes ago. So, but that's all easy enough to do, right? You can grep from within Perl, right? And then all you do is you put a OK around it. And if it succeeds, it's OK from a description. When you run your test, it goes, did this happen? Yeah, OK. Did this happen? OK. Did this happen? Fail. Close? Closer? No.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how. I mean, can you?
Are you caught on how to actually do the thing, or
Yeah. Well, so I'm trying to how would I, instead of passing command line attributes, would I just call the application in Perl?
No, what I'm saying is call it like you would call it. Because you have access to the code. It's the PM, what you're testing, it's right there in the same directory. You can live it in. You've got access to the code.
Right, but it's just a role. It's not even a full object.
Like, it's okay. You in your test script, you're running a Perl program. You can put the whole thing in an eval if you wanted to, and have a big I'm done, which is really what done with testing does for you. So everything that you would need to run this in another program, you need that in the testing program. So if you need to pull in Moose, or Moose Light, or whatever, that should be in there already.
Yeah, I mean, so we would pull in MooseX app, which would pull in Moose and all that stuff.
So you're done there. That's good. So then what do you need? I mean, basically write the program that's in your pod right there, and then we'll go back and we'll just encase it in the testing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. So I put that inside. Would I run that as like a subroutine?
You could if you want to, but it's very the testing is very procedural from the testing that I've done. And when you run the test, it's going to spit out, this passed, this passed, this passed, this passed, this passed. It's like when you're compiling up something. You're trying the test, and you install something from CPAN, test. Doing this, okay, okay. It's the exact same thing. So when you write these tests, they get executed one after another. You don't have to put it in the other subroutines if you want to, just run them. Because that gives you the closure and the done testing at the bottom. That is the subroutine. And in you want to logically group your tests. Which means I need to granular, which means I need to be small, right? Oh, the best tests are, you know, low on fuel or fuel pump not working. I can't get gas. Yeah, I stepped on the accelerator and nothing happened. No, fuel pump not working. That's a good test. So in effect, by doing log controls, we're kind of doing the accelerator tests because we're asking for all kinds of stuff, right, to work. But because it's so simple, your module, there's not a lot to test.
Yeah.
But good. Did we lose anybody? Yeah, so you could just put your,
I'm doing that right.
oh, you can use new sex map triple outside of the OK. Because you're gonna use multiple OKs.
Okay.
Like one OK for each little thing with testing. So I would say the first thing we should shoot for is 2 OKs. One where we log it quiet, and a second one where we look to make sure nothing got actually put. Which we're going to kind of use to know where, it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so after you use test 1, I would use index. That's simple. I would just do that stuff up there. So that self log debug. You sure? You can say at the OK is right there. Self log quiet. And do the first thing you want. Yeah, that's
So,
not annoying.
yeah, but so. Yeah, confused. So self log is the reference to the log for Perl object, right? So quiet is my attribute or in the role. So like you would have to do a new MooseX app simple with the role and then pass the attributes.
Yeah, I was going to come back up to that.
So,
But yes, so everything that you would do in a regular program.
so it'd be more like
Because this is a regular program.
you know,
I think the rest of the stuff from the pod here.
it's what is the pod?
Because the pod should have all that. Does the pod have a complete runnable example?
Yes.
Okay. But that's why you put the sub-run in there, right?
Yeah, so you would set up your own package. Like so your package and then your app name or whatever, right?
Okay.
And then under that use MuseX app simple or yeah. And then with MuseX app block the Perl and then sub-run, right? And that would be a complete.
Well,
Essentially what you would see when you ran that.
but the use package is because it's a module.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But you don't use the use package in your program. That's why you have the you don't specify
See
the
how you would
package name.
instantiate. This is an object, it's a Muse object, right?
Yeah. You already have Moose objects in the program that you're trying to run, right? And how are you instantiating that object?
I'm not instantiating with this module. Is just like I said, it's a role. The mixin it just adds to another object, right?
Yes.
So it's not
Right.
itself.
So it mixes it into an existing object.
Mm-hmm.
How is that object instantiated? With a new call somewhere, right?
Yeah. So there's a.
So you need to make an object you can put around with.
Yeah. So I need to put that into a packet. Yeah. A Muse object. In there. In there. That and then call here. So use. Oops.
Escape you?
I apparently hit you.
Why would you?
Yeah.
I forget.
I think it's hard, but it's not working. Alright. Let's copy the file again. There. Okay.
What was it?
I got it back.
I don't know. What was confused?
Oh, I just copy and pasted back.
Okay.
I think it's Control capital R to redo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was saying it's already latest change. So.
So let's go back. Yeah.
Okay.
Control capital R. That's right.
So if we went here, use.
CPM. Yep.
Do.
Good. So use test app is the name of your
Take care of this package. Test out. Alright, so that creates the Musex app object. Right. Then here's my role. It has one subroutine run. So looking at switch my input. What was that? So if you look at the documentation for Musex app simple, you can do my app, new with options, and then pass in the command line options that you want. So I think that's how I do it.
new with options. Yeah.
So here. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Log. So
so this is going to automatically run this run subroutine here. So maybe I should just not put any of this in.
yeah, yeah.
So just return one.
Yeah.
So I think it'll bark if I don't put the run subroutine.
I agree.
Um,
So there's a couple of things that we want to do. Since this is a test, ultimately we want to add tests around your setup stuff.
mhm.
So the my app equals test app new options. We're going to let that, look like a okay there. And then we use test more. And use test app. And we'll wrap that in probably the begin statement and then the use underscore okay instead of use.
Mhm.
So what it'll do is,
So use okay test out.
yeah, use underscore okay. And then open parentheses. Yeah, like that. A comma. And then significant and use test app. Right? So whatever you put in the text is just going to show up on screen on the text. Yep. So, yeah, testing is mostly, it's a Perl script, but you have this little metal language that test more gives you. Okay. And there's something about the begin. It's like when you're loading your stuff, you want to wrap that in the begin and then use OK. Because that's what I don't. So Moose App Simple is going to know where to find the launch tutorial from here. Or are we going to have to tell it to the path, which I don't know. We're just like a path.
Oh, like the live character. Yeah.
I don't know. Really? Do you have your, that's just so,
Did it not show anymore?
well, no, so I went back to check my phone, and Tom Metro was coming in. audio is poor, but it's nice that they do Google Plus on the. Yeah, we really need to spend a couple hours to figure out a hangout, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the kind of question that Tom Metro would be really handy. So I was just wondering if your audio was turned on. So in case they joined and spoke up.
Yes. It looks like it's recording me, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they hear you at all.
Well, because of feedback.
Right.
And that's like the thing, right? You know, everybody needs to do this or headphones or something. So, okay. So we haven't specified the number of tests. I think we can buy with that. We don't have to. Do you want to see? Well, wait a minute.
I don't know what's going on.
No. No, because we haven't. Upload. Yeah, right?
Also, well, no, we already passed quiet too. So we want to test the log, like info.
Along here.
That.
Not quite.
And then, but that's not testing
Yeah.
the output to standard out.
Well, but sure. How many times are you going to log in a given program, right? A lot.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that quiet was on the same level as like debug, but there's two debugs in there.
Well, quiet, the way quiet works is that it just turns off. So there's two appenders. There's the screen appender, and then there's a file appender that are in that configuration. And so if you specify a file, it will essentially turn on that file appender and append to a file. And if you specify quiet, it turns off the screen appender. All right, so you can log to a file but not the screen, or vice versa. You just ignore the log file and just have it only append to the screen.
So,
Or both.
right. So I think what we prefer to do
Or neither.
is can we specify quiet on the fly? Or we have to
No, because
instantiation.
you would have to. You could, but I guess
So if we log info,
as long as we don't log anything prior to changing that flag, because once we access the log attribute, lazy builds, and then once you've got the get logger function runs, then that configuration is set.
so we really should have a quiet test and then a working test.
No, they're talking about the new space.
Yeah, you got a little bit. What's up?
Oh, we're just looking around.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like we have a quiet test, and then we need to have a live test.
Yeah.
So we can make this be the quiet test. Quiet.t. So
Okay.
yeah, so when you log info, and you're logging quietly, basically nothing should happen, but nothing should bark. Right?
Yeah, but it'd be best to test what gets written to standard out from log for Perl,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. Write a little
What-
sample application and then just call. It's
Well,
used.
it's kind of what we're doing, right? So
Yeah.
you could say app log info, testing info equals something in quotes, right? And then that will give you, or what do you want to test coming back out of it?
Well, see, that's what we're not going to get any return from
Yeah.
that. We're not. It's just going to.
Only a K.
Yeah. But we're not. That function call is not going to return anything either, though.
Even if it fails? Even if you had cat error?
I mean, it could potentially fail, but it could fail in the sense that we're not testing for the right thing. Also, it could write to standard out and it would still pass.
Well, but then there's other tests. So that's why you've got one OK, which is I told it to log, it came back, it said it logged, we're fine.
Yeah.
And you got another OK, which is go out. Well, actually, you could, before this first OK, you could go out and get the last line from the log file, and it should have a time and date stamp in it, right?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
should.
And then do your call, and then go out and get the last line of the log file and see if they match. So if previous line equals current line, pass. Because that means nothing is added to the file. You could do that. But that gets back to how granular, you write your tests. And there's a little bit of, gas pedal metaphor in doing the whole log chain.
So what if I did? Let's see what else can I open. This. Yeah.
Input. Left foot corner. Are you doing the
Can I
two?
call just
Yeah.
standard out?
Oh, so
That's
no, because
a file handle of its own, right? It's like the default file handle.
yeah,
So it should already be open, right?
for read only. Yeah.
Or
So all right, so you got standard out open. Let's solve standard. You got standard out open. You're gonna grab a copy of it.
yeah.
And
So
then,
essentially,
and then do your execute.
then execute write info, and if it writes to standard out, then it fails.
So we're gonna need to run that too because well, that's okay. So yeah, we need to rim out anything that we don't want to run. Like see that.
So we did this, and then
Single bit. Single bit. If you use double clicks, it's going to try to interpolate it.
Right, no, that's true.
So it saves you some time.
Fair enough.
And that, and by the way, that's like a general security thing.
Mhm.
Is always use single ticks unless
Unless
you
you have to.
move to
Yeah.
interpolate. Because I did that on like a login thing,
Mhm.
and you could type code into the login box, into the username box, and it gets interpolated.
Yeah.
It executes. So, but that's my story about that. So, you don't have an OK around the app login info, so you're not actually testing that part of it. That's fine. You may add that later. But what I want to do is I want to get at this point a script that's got 1 or 2 tests in it that we can execute, and that we can put some prints and or some saves, and see what we can see, and then basically add more OKs. But I'm not sure that test is what we want.
No.
Not entirely sure. I have a feeling. Are you SSH or something?
No.
No, that's right. You're on the Ubuntu. So, because you said you had your problem on Windows. So I'm stuck.
Well, yeah, so all my work stuff is on Windows. I don't choose to be on Windows.
I wouldn't either.
Oops.
I'm still on Windows on this laptop just because I haven't had time to load. That's good.
It's supposed to be running tests. It's not outputting anything. There
Yeah,
it
I was going to
goes.
say.
Alright. All tests successful. It didn't run the second test file.
How's it going? Test equals 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, go into your test directory. And you should be able to say Perl space and then the name of the test, .t. What's that? Yeah, see, I was curious about that. So you haven't declared the package yet. So it makes sense if you've got follow on.
Wait. Use.
It doesn't know where most apps will involve Perl is.
Yeah.
The test app isn't done because it's not current. So that's what I was trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
When we can run functions like
Security package.
I'm still looking at their screen.
Oh, right.
Sure. Ooh, that got really big.
Yeah. It's weird. You can put multiple packages in the same file, right?
Well, package sets the namespace.
Right.
So, not really.
Well,
You
is that how
can.
like how Backpacker works? You put everything in a single file.
Yeah. However, if you're importing something and it's got a package that's declaring everything that happens inside of me is in this namespace. So you can have main, colon, and then you've got your other sub packages.
Mm-hmm.
And it all uses a very similar naming structure, right? As like if you manage it very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
it's from this point on use this namespace, and then you have another one that goes okay from this point on use this namespace. All the other stuff in the other namespace has to be called by that name.
So
And somewhere there's a guy going, no, it's not. No.
So would I have to put? So best solution would be to put the test app into its own lib directory and then call that. Right.
I don't know why you need.
Yeah, I don't need the test app.
I don't think so. I think you're in main as it is. Right?
Uh-huh.
That's your package main. That's what it's called. You're in main.
Mm-hmm.
So what you really need, test app is it's a new object
Mm-hmm.
of what? Of the role log deferral.
No, it's MooseX app simple.
Okay. So we need to have use MooseX app simple up above it. So right after test more. Because this is still a Perl format, right? So it's got to follow the same convention. The only difference is we've got this nice meta language from test more. Okay. And then, so here's that width in the log for Perl. We need to have that in there, around line 5. I'm just not sure if we need to call it with some kind of direct pass or not. But we have a way to test that. So yeah, we need to instantiate in this simple object and use it.
What is a test moose module?
Good.
Yeah.
That may be no class. Okay. Yeah. My app, new command, to try to instantiate a command for class. Right. So then you're extending the class with the log control.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, as long as we include MooseX app above the new with command or new with option. So we should be able to get past it. So right now, at this point, other than use OK. So if we move line 9 up above line 6, or line 6 to line 10, well, yeah, no, I don't think we have to do line 6 at all. Because we're not using the class, are we? By instantiating it, we're in effect making it available within use. Alright, we're not missing something.
How are we instantiating the Moose class?
New with options.
Right, but that is a function within MooseX app. Simple.
Yes.
And so you're saying just do MooseX app simple new with options, but then how do you add the role to that object? Do with.
Well, yeah, line 19,
So,
you show up line 5.
Line 19. Hold on, would it not be? Simple. With. Oh my gosh. That?
You know what? I think we should try it. So the sub, no, yeah. What? Why do you bother having kids?
Sub run. There is no run sub command.
Well, I think you need the sub run and then return because it's going to want that. And we may have to put the 10, 11, and 12 inside the sub run, and then 14 outside, 132. Okay. But the main thing we need to do is be able to differentiate.
We don't have an app run function at this point.
But it should compile.
It should fail.
Now it shouldn't run.
Run
It won't
is
actually do any of the new stuff, right?
Well, the run is part of this new with options. And so it's going to load up the arguments that we provide, and then it's going to execute run. But run doesn't exist because we didn't define it.
So we're only testing up to that point right now. So if we run this,
So should we take the new with options off? Because that's just going to fail. Or should. But it should fail.
you want to test it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. What'd that do?
Okay. Worst thing that happens is it does fail, and then you take it out, and then test it.
So that was fair burger.
Is this code up on GitHub by any chance?
Yeah.
It's like 10:09.
Oh.
Yeah, so Denise's in Photoshop. So I want to see what the error failure is. Let me try running.
Change my window. See the terminal?
No.
Nope.
Damn you, hang on. There it is. But that is much cleaner. That's that one there.
Hmm?
I still got the memo.
Oh,
Don't matter.
yeah, sorry, I was looking on Perl Doc to
You're
figure out.
actually doing code.
Yeah,
No, I don't want to interrupt that.
can't. I'm not sure how to open file handle to standard out on the application.
I think, actually, well, 1, 2, and 3, right? One is standard out, 2 is, no, one is standard in, 2 is standard out, 3 is error. No, try it back.
It's one standard out, two standard error, right?
No, 2 is standard. No, 2 is standard error. But anyway, it's not for it.
No.
So, did anything pop up?
It just says can't use bear word. It's not a file. I mean, it's, yeah. I was hoping it was some sort of allowed constant built into Perl.
Didn't we write a little something last time that kind of did that? With open? It's
We
not,
can. That opens like a pipe
yeah,
to the shell.
I don't remember what we did last time. Select. That's kind of crazy. So, what did I say? So, we're using Google or DuckDuckGo?
Google it now. Yeah.
Okay. And DuckDuckGo, I hope you're right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I use Perl capture output the stuff, right? Those 5 words. And I've got a Stack Overflow, which is pretty good. Perl, is there a way to capture it that we can print out? If you go into that, and there are great examples of redirecting standard error and standard out. See the comments? The group chat with the hangout? what that one does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go down to the next one. I think that's the one that should have. So you say my variable return variable equals the function you want to run. So you can return out of your test integrity results of the actual integrity. Make sense? But yeah, so the thing we're doing there is
This
we're
is
opening
standard curve into standard out.
put the writing into standard error.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of writing into standard error, you could write into your own file. Your own file handle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, so you could take standard out and redirect it wherever you want. Grab it that way. You would just need to do it inside of the closure so it all goes away outside. So we're not storing the standard.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that an example of that to the variable is that's right below it. Use some of this.
I wonder if that's a real model.
No.
You sure?
No. Considering all the acne stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I expect it to be an acne kind of thing. But so the whole point of this is you want to collect standard out during this call. Make sure that nothing comes out.
Yeah. Common Sense is a module in CPAN, by the way.
Oh, what the heck is it supposed to do? Nothing. It's just there to make people laugh.
It says like use same defaults, so like uses UTF-8, use strict, use feature say state and switch, use feature Unicode strings, Unicode eval, current stub, FC eval bytes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I learned something today.
Yeah.
Alright, so that is a way to do that test.
Yeah.
And once function 1.t
Mm-hmm.
compiles and runs, it should be included in all your tests on that.
Yeah. No, no, no. What's this?
That's pretty funny. Did you get the oil?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do these come out for everybody or just two of us?
Just the two of us right now, but I
Okay.
can cross-post it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Name two strings, or two hills, which are footprints.
Right here, but it should be set.
I don't understand why this needs a prototype.
It's called too early. Looking at the landline.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I posted it, the GitHub to the Perl Mongers request, and then also the GIS Hangout. So, I expect Tommy will be racked with guilt. And we'll fix it. They're like, what are you trying to do? Where did you define keystrokes?
So right here. Just copy that subroutine from.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a thing. I don't remember. Is it strict to let you do that? Because you. One, two, three, row. Okay. Okay. So my younger brother, was basically buying his first ever new car. The Wolf is down there.
Getting a Volt.
He's actually getting a Wolf.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at that. He lives in Colorado, and at the price that he's paying, the state tax credit is like $4,500. The federal tax credit is $7,500. State one, $4,500. That's, you know, 12.
Yeah.
It's 12 of them. And $750 for USAA. And then what's the starting price? So he's basically, yeah, getting a brand new, super efficient car for that price of 22, 27. But he's really tight with his money.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the only one in the family that is. I never thought I would spend this much on a car ever. Never. The thing is he puts up wind turbines.
Yeah.
The wind engineer for Halo, and it's like closes the loop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to him. It makes the wind energy and increases the energy to travel around. It's gonna boil into the wind over. So, but he's at the dealer like right now. I'm like, I don't know what I should do. His car got totaled.
Yeah.
His own Memorial Day weekend. He drove it from Colorado to Amarillo, where folks are. Everybody was there at 2 a.m. in the morning, and some drunk guy in a pickup truck just smashed it totally. Yeah, it was really funny because there's this loud noise, and just the kids were up playing video games, and they run out and they're like, Jason, your car's gone. There's a full rain. And the guy pushed it 2 houses down, and up into across the street into the mud. And they couldn't see it. Like, your car, man, it's just gone, man. The guy was totally lost. So anyway, he had to buy a car. He had to replace it. And it was either paying full freight for a Subaru, which is the national car in Colorado. Right. Which he still is like, I could go to the mountains with the Subaru. Or
all those volts had all kinds of torque.
Well, they do, but they're this high up the ground. That's the problem. So, ultimately, the Scottish dealer was like, "That's just too cheap. Pass it up." And he was the thing. I will brag a little bit about is that he's got all these, incentives to get him to buy, this really cool thing, and he's like, yeah, but I don't, seat warmers really, seat warmers, he lives in Colorado. What's wrong with you, man? Get the goddamn seat warmers. And yeah, so anyway, this is still recording. So this is still recording. Hey.
Still. Push this out. So the new test is up on GitHub.
Cool.
People are free to tear it apart.
He's getting black. Alright. Yes. Are you muted? You just thought you were.
I'm muted, but my volume is
So, camera. All right, so this is the end of the broadcast. I hope you got something out of it. We basically just put it around, try to get testing to work, and the link is in the comments. And if you want to try to hack on it and set us straight, send us a message. That's it.